Hey, sports fans, welcome to another episode of Playitright TV. I am Dyan Castillejo with the Dean, Quinito, Henson, and wow, we have a super guest for tonight. He's on our screens. We can see him right now. So, welcome to the show. Without further ado, actor, singer, triathlete, PSG, and of course, husband to Sarah Geronimo, Matteo Guidicelli.
Thank you very much, Dayan. Maraming salamat. Husband is already okay. Okay na yan.
Hi there, Matteo. Good to see
Hello.
you.
Good
And
evening.
it's awesome that you're part of our show, Played Right TV.
No, thank you very much. I've seen Play It Right online amidst the pandemic. No, you guys, tama ba? Correct me if I'm wrong.
Yeah.
You started amidst the pandemic.
Yes,
No,
we
and
did.
bring different Filipino athletes. So this is a very, very nice avenue for to support Filipino athletes and to get them out there. So maraming salamat for what you guys do also.
Yeah. Well, of course, to me, you're really an athlete talaga, no? You started you were a carter, then you race car driver, and then triathlete, of course. You've been there, done that. But recently you have really gotten very physical. In 2018, correct me if I'm wrong, you did a ranger training, correct?
Mm. Yes, that.
And then you did paratrooping training, and just a couple of weeks ago you graduated as a member of the PSG, the very elite presidential security group training. So Quinito, first of all, Matt, the ranger training was hard enough. Tell us about that, and then the paratrooping, and then your PSG certification.
Yeah, then basically, I guess it's every boy's dream to join the army, no? So talagang nung bata pa ako, I'd always watch Rambo movies with my father. So, yeah, 3-4 years ago, I joined the Philippine Army I was commissioned as a reserve officer in the Philippine Reserve, kumbaga. And just things opened up for me, and the opportunity opened to join the Scout Ranger Orientation course. So the Scout Ranger Orientation course is a 45-day course. It's a prerequisite for any soldier that wants to be a Philippine Scout Ranger. So if you pass the 45-day orientation course, you are authorized and allowed to join the 6-month Ranger course. I did not do the Ranger course because obviously I work in the
I know.
showbiz industry, and I was gonna get married and all. I got married and all. So the 45-day training was more than enough. I was privileged enough to join the PMA class 2021. Those guys
Mhm.
were my classmates, and I graduated number one in the course. So I was very honored and humbled talaga to be amidst these soldiers. My respect for unang-una the Philippine Military Academy students, our Philippine Army, and everything about the Army. It blew my mind. Obviously, from civilian life, I jumped in right away to the Ranger training, was one of the hardest training in a Philippine Army. So that it
Wait,
blew my mind. Yes, Dan.
did you actually stay in the camp in San Miguel, Bulacan?
Yes, I lived there for almost 2 months in San Miguel, Bulacan, and it was a roller coaster ride. No, in my mindset, I'm physically fit. I'm okay. Let's do this. But I remember the commanding general, the regiment commander that time, General Gonzalez. He said, "Matt, this course is just a lot of common sense. Just bring in a lot of common sense." So I'm like, okay, but it broke you down into pieces. It broke you down as a boy that grew up a privileged life. It broke me down, and after 1 week, I thought I was gonna go home already. But thanks to my PMA classmates, they really pushed me to just in kumbaga in the army we say take and take. Just take whatever they give you, and just in the end of the day, time is your ally. And a day always ends. So just take and take, and you know you're gonna see
Matapos,
kumbaga, ano yan?
matatapos rin ang araw ng pagdurusa.
Yeah.
Describe the day, like how hard it was there.
Our ranger training was very difficult. No, we would get up around 3 a.m. Our physical activity started up to around 06. So that's all running and all doing, kumbaga in army, we call masi-masi, no? And then from around 6 to 11, we have classroom work. That's military tactics, jungle warfare, etc. All these things, tactical medicine. And then before lunch, we do again another set of exercise. And then we have lunch. And then from 1 p.m. up to what, midnight, we're exercising again. So they really deprive you of sleep, deprive you of everything, just to let you, kumbaga, you lose yourself, and then everybody will just be pantay-pantay kayo lahat ba.
Yeah.
So it was such a humbling experience for me. Obviously, I came from a boy that grew up in Cebu and Alabang, so so it shocked my world. Like, every day I was crying there. I was crying like a baby. I wanted to go home. But after 2 3 weeks, I really I adjusted, and I appreciated everything. I appreciated the moment. I appreciate the camaraderie we built with our with our classmates, and all. So I guess that's what got me through. And surprising enough, when we graduated, I even cried, and I told my classmates I didn't want to leave. So that's how the army created the bond with another.
Yeah. Two questions, Matt. First, were your classmates hard on you? Because, you yourself said you come from a privileged class, you didn't have a military background, but here you were trying to crash their fellowship. So, first question was, were they hard on you? And number two, of all the training that you did during those, 45 days, what did you enjoy the most? Was it packing the arms? Was it, a different kind of training? So just those two questions. Were they hard on you? And number two, what specifically did you enjoy in your training regimen?
The classmates weren't hard on me, no. At first, I think they felt like, oh, this artista boy is coming. He's gonna give up in a week. But I guess I showed them. I was able to keep up with them. Uh, who was hard on not just me but on us were our eyes, our ranger instructors. Those guys didn't. Those guys didn't care. In fact, they'd say, ikaw, artista ka. Akala mo ano lang to dito, ganon. So I was actually the one preparing coffee for them in the mornings. Alam mo yun, they were doing things na, they don't usually do in normal life. But, kumbaga, in training, everybody, your ranks are all stripped off.
Mhm.
Your place in society is taken off, and you're all equal, kumbaga. So, at the end of the whole training, our instructors, obviously, we all hugged each other, and we gained so much respect for one another. And we understood why these guys were doing what they did to us. And for your second question, Tito, no, we learned a lot of. It was very amazing, no, what we learned. But I guess to sum it all up, our last week in training, it's called FTX, the field training exercise. So we're brought in the mountains for about a week, and everything we learned through the course, we simulate everything from ambush, from recovering your body, everything you learn for the whole 45 course. There's a simulation up in the mountains for a week.
Was
So
there
that
like an initiation, Matt? Like when you entered, were they did they ask you to sing or did they ask you to dance? Anything
uh
like that?
Uh, yeah, we call it frolics. No, we have that just to have a good time. But every military course begins with a reception day. No matter what kind of military course that is,
Mm.
obviously, in the reception of the Rangers is considered one of the most difficult. A lot of people give up, and a lot of people don't make it. Kumbaga, we call it they get recycled. So if you're
Yeah.
recycled, you don't make reception. You have to wait for the next year to join the Ranger course again. So
Mm.
every day up there in San Miguel, Bulacan, there was at least one person that would get heat stroke.
Oh.
One person that would get dextrose, would start convulsing there, shaking. But these PMA guys are as hard as a rock. I'm telling you, because if they would miss 24 hours or 42 hours, they would have to repeat the whole year again.
Yeah.
So these guys wouldn't. They were sick, but after a few hours, they would get back on their legs and just continue doing what they were doing. So it was incredible. It was something else. Something else.
I remember one time you were telling me that you guys would run with like a 30-pound backpack. Am I
Yeah,
correct?
in the ranger course and of course airborne course, they give you have a rucksack. We call it a
Yung,
rucksack. So we start with 11 kilos up to 15, 20 kilos. So they
okay,
gradually train you up to that.
grabe.
Mhm.
And then the PSG training naman was also 30 or 40 or 30 days.
45 days, but we almost, we came up almost to 2 months there. But the PSG is different naman, no? I was very lucky because in the PSG, actually you're chosen or invited to be there. So, I got the invitation, and how can I say no to that? That's a once in a lifetime thing. And, for a celebrity or for an artista to be offered something like that, how can you say no, no? So I
And
said yes.
congratulations, Quinito. He won the award of third best sharpshooter. Correct,
Yes,
third
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Wow.
margin. Yeah.
Using
So
what weapon? Using what weapon?
In the PSG, we specialize in handguns, pistols, pistols. Dito.
Okay.
So in the Ranger, it's all long arms because we do jungle warfare. In the PSG naman, it's all short firearm.
Well, guys. And
Mhm.
you were talking about the paratrooping regiment.
Yes.
How did that go? Did they push you out of the plane or the helicopter?
So we did the basic airborne course. That's called. It's another 45-day course where they teach us on how to be basically paratroopers. No, how to deploy from a low altitude, from a chopper or a C-130 or any aircraft. To try as fast as possible to land on the ground. Kumbaga. So this is a static jump. So once you jump out of the chopper, around 3 to 4 seconds, your parachute will automatically deploy. No, so we're jumping from just 1,000 feet, if I'm not mistaken. So very, very, kumbaga, it's you can see the people walking around. So before I did the basic airborne course, I jumped already 5 times in a civilian free fall skydiving. No, so that one you're jumping from 5,000 to 8,000. So you're jumping high, so you can't see anybody down there. It's all clouds. No, sometimes clouds where everything's super tiny. Here in the
mhm.
army, you can actually see the people down there. So it's kind of it's scary because you don't have much time to to deploy your reserve or anything else like that. So the whole 45 days, you're basically trained to have your presence of mind in case of any emergencies. You deploy your reserve parachute, and the most important, the PLF, the parachute landing form, because in military parachuting, there's no brakes. There's a certain way you have to fall. So that's what we do for 45 days. Practice that fall.
I remember I saw your YouTube video on that. I think it's like when you landed, you were like, wow, like super high, right? How good did
Yeah.
that feel?
It was surreal, Diane. In the first time, you just say thank you, Lord. My parachute opens, no. So, but every training course or everything I do, I make it a point to document it, no, Diane and Tito, because it's a way to connect and bridge that gap from military to the civilians, no, to show the people na, hey, to inspire the kids. The military is something you can do, and how important the military is for our country, no, and how you can give yourself to serve your country through the military. So this is my advocacy, to try to bridge that gap and to show the people, kumbaga, how selfless and how inspiring and how uh, I think the word is selfless. All our soldiers are to serve and protect our country.
Yeah. So you're now a second lieutenant, right, Matteo?
Yes, then.
So many people have been asking me now that you're a qualified PSG. Do you have any assignment? Are you going to be guarding any VIP soon, or any of the first family kaya, or wala pa?
I'm guarding my wife, then.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, Quinito, like super congratulations. I know how I've been to that ranger training, and yeah, I mean, I know it's not fun at all. I mean, for you to do it, like I've asked you this before, uh, the big question is why.
Why, Diane? I'd like to answer that question. Why people would ask me why? From the ranger training to my airborne course to now the PSG and other little military trainings I've been doing. Um, there's one thing. There's actually a few things the military taught me, but one major thing the military has taught me that up to today I use in my everyday life. No,
Mhm.
it's grit. You know, talaga you have to have that grit to really accomplish the day, to move on and just never give up. No, and
Yeah.
two, um, the army, especially we're drowned here in the showbiz world, Diane, with all these beautiful things, all these nice things, all this good
Yeah.
food, and all these things. You know, the army is a place where it allows me to lose my ego, Diane, if that makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
It makes me equal with everybody and just, you know, I don't know.
Bring it back to earth.
Yeah, it balances me, and people shout at me and all that stuff. It doesn't happen in real life, but I like being with these soldiers that talagang they humble me, and they just um you realize that there's just people that are so selfless, and they do so much for our country, and it's just so mind blowing. So, I hope I've made sense. Did I make sense?
Right.
Yeah, you certainly did, Matt. And I think what you said about experiencing the life of a soldier,
Mhm.
because you want to put yourself in a position where you appreciate what these
Mhm.
soldiers do for our country, that they're
Yes.
selfless, that they provide this kind of service, they put their lives on the line for our
Yeah.
Yes.
country. And I think it's quite admirable that
Very,
someone like you, a celebrity and a showbiz personality, would put yourself in their place so you can appreciate and experience what it's like to be a soldier. That's amazing. That's really amazing.
I mean, yeah, it's just I'm just very thankful, no, and like I said, I'll never be like any one of them, but I'll always represent them with the best way I can, and then just try to uplift them the best way I can. So yun.
it's a good thing
And
you're abroad because that's a lot of time away from your wife.
yeah, I know. The PSG naman, it was medyo flexible. It wasn't like the Ranger training, which was really locked in there. The PSG training is just here in Malacanang, so it's just a skyway right down there. So I was able after our class, after our class we would end around 6 p.m., 7 p.m. I drive back to Alabang. But I have to be back in Malacanang around 3 a.m. So that was just the consequence I had to do. So I did it for 45 days, 2 months. So you know
Grabe.
eventually 2 months would end, so I just had to make the is. So it was all good.
And at the graduation of PSG, did the president actually greet you and they welcome you to the force?
Actually, the president sent a message, no, on his social media account, so that was more than enough. And um, uh, it was a nice experience, and just to be with all of them, all of those guys there. Those guys are incredible, and just to learn and see what the presidential security does. No, it's a very very intricate, it's very very complex group of people that do so much that people just they don't really know what they do, but there's so much back end things that takes place in kumbaga in protecting a VIP or protecting the president and head of states of our country.
Yeah, you take a bullet for the president. It's like the Secret Service in the US.
Yes, that's the counterpart, the Secret
Yeah.
Service.
Okay, now let's talk about sports, Diane. We know about Mateo's background now as a reservist, as someone who lived the life of a soldier. But we also know that he was a three-time Carter of the Year.
Mm-hmm.
And that's sort of like what brought you into the sporting world. Tell us at what age you stopped karting, and did you actually want to go beyond karting and go into the higher level of car racing?
Yes, though, actually, I started racing when I was 11 years old, and I stopped racing around 18, 19, or 20 years old, somewhere there, no, before I left for college in Chicago. But obviously, racing started everything. At the age of 11, I started. At the age of 14, we moved to Manila. My whole family moved to Manila because of my racing. And the plan was to be the first ever Filipino to take a seat in the Formula One car. That was the plan. That was the dream. That was the goal. But in life, other doors open, other opportunities open when you're young, and other doors open for me. Show business open, and I guess I went that direction. So I went there, and I left it na lang to the other younger Carters, Marlon Stockinger, and the other guys, and Marlon actually lived our dream. We're very very proud of him. He never raced the Formula One car, but he drove the Formula One car. So that was all our dreams. Marlon was a batch younger than me. And he lived our dream. And kudos to him, congratulations to him. But hopefully, one day, the Filipino flag can be racing the Formula One tracks one day. Hopefully.
Yeah, sana no. Wala pa
Mm.
eh.
Wala pa. But Marlon was the closest. Marlon was the
Yeah,
closest.
it's so tough. It's so tough. And then Matt, of course, before we were in the same triathlon team, and you're always the pusher of the group, right?
Mm.
Pushing everybody to to do more things. But I want you to share uh how you started triathlon, and it's actually because of your dad, right?
Yeah.
You want to talk about that a bit?
Yeah, Papa started everything. When we moved to America for my sister and I for our studies. Papa and Mama also moved to America, and without them realizing or noticing, my dad was just getting bigger and bigger. From just eating too much. And when we moved back to the Philippines, he realized he was 250 something, and the doctor said, "Hey, Gianluca, you have to take all these maintenance medicines because your levels are off the chart." So Papa said, "No, no, I can't do that. I'm gonna change my lifestyle, change my routine, and change my diet." So he did.
Yeah.
He did. And Papa, he was starting to run, swim, bike, and run. And he said, "Mateo, I'll buy you a bike too." Sabi ko, "Pa, I'm not gonna bike. That's such a boring sport. Why will I run? Why will I bike? Why will I swim?" So eventually, he got me a bike, and we biked around Alabang, and I couldn't keep up with him. So that challenged me. That was like, oh, there's something wrong here. And he made me join my first triathlon race in Cebu, Naga, Cebu, more than 10 years. Yeah, 10, yeah, years ago, almost 10 years ago. And mga 10 years ago. And then I joined a sprint. It was a 500-meter swim,
Mm-hmm.
uh, a 30K bike, and a 5K run. It's
Yeah.
a very basic triathlon. And I remember that swim. It was only 500 meters. When the gun went off, I just sprinted that swim. And I wasn't even halfway there. I almost called the rescue team to rescue me because I was going to drown. I was panicking and all. And I remember the guy in the bangka, the diver, said, Sir, gusto na mong umakyat?" Sabi ko, wag, dami nanonood doon, nakakahiya. Di ba? So talagang I was so embarrassed. So I started breaststroking my way back to the finish line. And then I biked around 30K and I walked the 5K. And after that day, I was like, hey, this is not a joke. I'm going to train for this. So that started everything.
Galing.
Matt, can you tell us what sport do you like to watch and what sport do you like to play?
What do I like to watch? Obviously, I loved watching Formula One back in the day. Especially Schumacher's time. I remember the whole family would gather up every race day and just watch together. Put the Ferrari flags up and the Italian flag up and all that. I remember those moments clearly. Boxing. I guess all of us we like watching boxing. No, sila Manny Pacquiao and all the big names. To play. I used to be a soccer player. I used to play soccer varsity back in the day, high school days, elementary days, middle school days in Cebu and here in the high school.
Oh, I didn't
Uh,
know you were pala.
yeah, before Dyan, before wala na yan.
Yeah.
Uh, but I like keeping fit. I still run. I swim. I do a little boxing just for fitness and just normal basic things. Kumbaga.
What sport would you like to learn?
I'm not a basketball player. I can play, but I cannot play. I'm not good at all. I remember one time, Tito, we had this all star game for Swatch that Swatch organized. All star players, Asitaw Laba and all these big names. In I think ano to? Araneta yata to, Billy Crawford, Billy was there, some celebrities and all these big names in basketball. And I told them, just leave me here in the bench. And then Billy jokingly said, Mateo, no, go, go, go. So I played. I was like, dude, just let me 30 seconds, put me back in the bench. And then I remember they gave me that ball, and I was like, oh my God. And then all these guys are huge, right? All these, even PBA players, they're huge. And the guy was there, and I went up for the 3-pointer. I was like, oh my God, I'm not going to make it. But I did make it. I was like, oh, I did make it. And I made a super chamba, and I said, bro, put me back in, put me back in, put me back in the bench. I mean, no, you play. So I was so embarrassed that day. It was the biggest chamba of my life. And there's so much respect for all the
Pumasok
basketball
yun.
players out there. Pumasok na
If,
eh.
if you took only one shot, that's 100% field goal percentage.
That,
Yun.
that's a great story.
Well,
But
yeah, but for sports you'd like to learn, Diane is always there for tennis, and
Yeah, yeah.
I'm there for squash, and you
Oh,
can
you
play
play
tennis and squash
wow,
in Puerto
squash.
Rico. Yeah,
We should
that
do
would
that
be
one
nice.
day. No, squash. Actually, I was training with Matt for a while. I was giving him. I was training him for a while. I was his training partner, right, Diane?
yeah, in the you made him super sore. Teo talaga, Quinito. Anything he does, he just does it like more than 100%. And if you are with him, oh my gosh, you are going to definitely be pushed beyond what you planned or intended or what your physical body can actually take.
No, but
Well, the
Diane's
whole
the
idea is
idol.
also to enjoy.
Yeah, Diane is the idol. Tito Quinito. No, I remember. Diane did an Ironman race in Cebu, and everybody was telling her not to race. Okay, except for my dad. My dad said, "Diane, just go, just go, just go." But Kuya Kim Atienza, all these other guys were saying, "Diane, don't race. You're not trained. You haven't trained. You can't even drink. You can't even drink water while riding your bike. Kumbaga,
I
you
know
can't take that
bad bike,
bottle out."
bad bike.
Yeah, so everybody was telling him not to race, but my dad was like, "Just race, just race." So Diane raced and she finished. How incredible is that? Not everybody can do what she's doing, and talagang Diane is one of a kind. Talaga idol
Yeah,
talaga is
she's
Diane.
our fitness guru.
Ah,
Grabe.
Yeah.
talaga. But Matt, you're so busy. You're doing so many things. You have several businesses. Your family, of course. You have the Johnny restaurant, which we all love here in Alabang, right?
Thank you,
And
thank you.
you're now, I mean, you have your shows, and you're also opening a studio. You want to tell us about that?
Yes, Diane, thank you. Yeah, the Johnny Restaurant, Alabang, BGC, in
Oh,
Cebu.
Pala also, no? The Johnny's
Yes,
in.
yes, the Johnny. And yeah, we're opening a studio. We're actually we're constructing it right now. It's in Landers, Alabang. This is a venue where artists, or anybody out there that would want to shoot their content, make content, or just rent space for their family gatherings, company gatherings, and whatnot. No, it's going to be in Landers, Alabang. We have a building there going up. It's called G Studios. Hopefully by March, it's going to be up.
Okay, maybe Playitright TV might do some of our episodes in that studio.
Oh, dapat ito. Doon kayo mag-shooting.
So, di
Shooting.
ba, di ba? But before we go, Matt, I wanted to ask you this question. Of all your sports idols, I want to prune it down to just two guys. You kind of like half answered it already earlier, but if you were to choose your sports idol, would it be Manny Pacquiao or LeBron James?
Wow. Obviously, I have a bias already here dahil Pinoy siya. But LeBron James, of course, hands down to him and talagang LeBron James. But I'll have to say Manny Pacquiao for this one. Napaka ibang klase si Manny, and hands down to him, and he's just incredible, for what he's done for the sport, for the country, and just his respective sport. Talagang he broke so many boundaries, and just something so amazing, so amazing.
Nice. Mateo, how would you describe yourself as a husband? I
Wow.
haven't read.
I don't know. Then you have to ask Sarah.
Ah, no, I think you're a good husband, naman. But you're so busy all throughout the day. You're doing so many things. Uh, and can you encourage our viewers as to why because I know you're always doing something active, always trying to stay fit. How does being healthy, active, engaged in a sport actually help you in your day-to-day life?
Well, I think it's very, very important. I think sports, I think having an active lifestyle is very, very important for each and every one of us out there. Um, for me, if I don't do something in the mornings, I'll feel sluggish the whole day. I have to run, I have to go to the gym, or just do something in the morning just to start my day. And I think this is not something I have to do. This is something embedded already in my day, kumbaga. I always tell my friends or whoever out there that's asking, it's just very, very difficult to start. But once you get into the groove of fitness, once you start into getting that circle, that groove, everything will just flow easier and nicely. and just understanding about yourself, about your body, about your mindset. It's a whole complete thing that makes life better, I guess. Just to keep a healthy lifestyle is very, very important.
For sure. Well, Second Lieutenant Matteo
Yep.
Guidicelli,
Salute.
salamat
Thanks
for your
very much for your time, Matt, for joining us here on Playitright TV. We learned so much about you, the inside of Matteo Guidicelli, and it's so heartwarming to know that we have someone like you who appreciates our military and who has a heart for the country and for and for our people. So thanks
Thank
very
you,
much
to,
for
thank
joining
you,
us.
to Dayan. Thank you very much. Also, thank you to the both of you, and of course, play it right. And of course, a big shout out to all our soldiers there that are selflessly serving our country. Maraming maraming salamat.
All right. Thanks, Matt. We'll see you soon.
Thank you, Matt, and see
Thank
you
you.
again. Say hi
Bye
to your
bye.
family.
I'll tell
Bye.
them. Take care. Thank you.
Sorry, okay. Well, Quinito, the guy, si Mateo, I mean, it's so much fun to talk to. But, honestly, I've known him for a long time, since his karting days. But I mean, I really mostly admire him for always pushing himself. He's actually a really disciplined guy. And, that military training is really no joke. And for him to, want to experience that with our soldiers is, to me, very, very, very admirable. So,
I certainly learned a lot about Mateo in this interview. And Dyan, we want to thank you for getting him to guest on our show, Play It Right TV. And it's very rare that someone of his stature comes around from show business to join us. I mean, we have a lot of big, high profile sports personalities, but to get someone like Mateo, who's such a big star in show business, but also with a sports background to join us. I mean, this was such an awesome episode. So thanks very much, Mateo. Thanks, Dyan, and thanks to everyone who watched this episode on Play It Right TV.
we hope you enjoyed. And please watch again, like, share, subscribe on our channel, Play It Right TV. And please visit playitright.com, our sister company. They sponsor our show. They make this happen. They have super nice products, perfect Christmas gifts, perfect to start yourself on the active lifestyle. Please check them out, playitright.com. Okay, that's going to do it for us this episode. We'll see you again next time. Dyan Castillejo.
Quinito, Henson, always play it right.